Firstly, can you tell us a little bit about your experience in studying in the UK as an international student?
اوكي
Well,
بالاول
yeah, sorry.
اوكي اوكي بالاول فيك بليز تخبرينا عن خبرتك ببريطانيا كطالبة دولية، لأن احنا بنعرف انت كنت من عمر ال 15 سنة عم تدرسي هون.
Yes, so technically for my experience studying in the UK, so I come to the UK study A level. So it's around when I'm 15 or 16 years old, I came here and I start my A level in Cashel College in Nottingham. And then I continue to study my bachelor degrees and master degrees in Leeds. And then I moving on to pursue my PhD study at Newcastle University. And now, yes, I'm working as a lecturer in finance and accounting in University of Bath. About experience per se, well, of course, in the beginning, I do have quite a lot of difficulties because when I come here, I'm quite young. And basically, I did not know much about the life in the UK, and I'm absolutely alone by myself in this new country. English is definitely another obstacle that I have been going through as well. And there's a lot of funny story that, well, you could say it is a challenge when I study A level. So not just that my English is not very good. And one of my teacher I study economics in my A level, and my economics teacher is Scottish. So basically, I could not understand anything he said. So the English obstacle and a lot of things is different in the way Vietnamese learn. So I'm from Vietnam, by the way. So there's a lot of difference in the way Vietnamese students learn and the way that the teacher or the education in the UK expected a student should have. So that's such mismatch in expectation and in the way students learn. That is the mainly biggest shock that I encountered when I first came. But of course, you know, as you live and for a longer time, then you just get adjust and you adapt to the life here, not just the way people study, the way the teacher is doing the marking, and of course, the way the culture work as well.
Okay, thank you. So now we come to a question we received prior to the event. So did you come to study with a scholarship? What criteria did you have in choosing the college and university you studied in?
Yes, thanks for the question. This is, you know, a long answer for this question. So I come here in since A level, and yes, I applied for scholarship. According to my knowledge, there's quite a lot of scholarship available for A level students to encourage more young learners coming to the UK. And at that time, I remember I got 60% of the tuition fee. And the good thing is that I did not study in private college, but I studied in the public college in the UK. So the tuition fee are pretty much very affordable. I think it's around £2,000 per year, but it was like 12, 13 years before. So I'm not too sure how much it is now. And I'm sure, of course, private college is much more expensive, but of course the quality is better as well if you can afford it. And when I finished my A level, the reason that I choose A level instead of foundation, because I heard from the people who came to the UK before me, they said, first of all, when you study A level, it's easier for you to get in a very high rank university comparing to your study foundation. And second of all, it's easier and more appealing when you apply for scholarship. And at that time, when I'm filling in UCAS form, to be honest, I do looking for a place that have quite good ranking, first of all. And also it don't have to be the top, but it should be a good uni. And also they provide a certain amount of scholarship, and the living cost is cheap as well. So that my three criteria when I choose my undergraduate university. That's why I choose Leeds, because at that time I think they provide up to 50% of the scholarship of the tuition fee each year. And also I actually living up a bit in the north, is in Yorkshire. So in the UK, if you know about it, in the north is typically cheaper than if you're living in the south. At that time, now I'm teaching in Bath. Actually, when I applying for university, I was thinking of applying for Bath as well, because at that time, the bachelor degrees in accounting and finance in Bath ranked the first in the whole UK. But I did not choose it because first, no scholarship, not much scholarship available. Even they only give like £1,000 or £1,500. And also they are in the south, and everyone know that Bath is extremely expensive city, even though it's a small city. So because of this reason, I did not choose Bath, but I choose Leeds instead. And yeah, again, for Newcastle, I got a full PhD scholarship from ESRC. I got the first year full scholarship free for tuition fee and living cost for Newcastle. Plus, after 1 year, I got another full scholarship for ESRC research funding. So basically, all my study depend a lot on scholarship. And I'm sure there's quite a lot available for all of you if you actually work hard and, confidence in yourself.
Okay, that's cool. So you just choose the north because of the certain things that you
Living
said.
cost is much
Yeah.
cheaper.
So myself as a student, I chose the north because I chose the Northamptonshire. So that was another thing. It was purely based on, as you said, the living expenses, and it's like a peaceful environment though. But we have a lot of towns, and we can still enjoy our lives there.
Yeah, of course.
But
But I
yeah,
mean, Northampton is still quite expensive comparing to Leeds or Newcastle, isn't it?
yeah, but yeah, not so because our traveling is a bit less because the university is right in the town center. Everything is based in that town center. So yeah, so that was great. So then we have a question from Stephanie Jack. So would you recommend students to choose a degree that is easy to get job of lying their interest?
It's a very good question, and it's very hard for me to give a certain answer for this, because of course when we doing any kind of education, we want to pursue some degrees. At the end of the day, we want to get a good job, and especially easy to get a job which pay well, or at least reasonable pay. And of course, I think there is a way for you to accommodate both. If you can, it's much better, because when I'm teaching in Bath, I'm also the personal tutors of quite many students. So I have like 12 undergrad students for first year, and 12 for second year, and 12 for third year, and they are my personal tutees. And through 2 years that I work in Bath, there is 2 cases. My student come to me and saying that they're really thinking of changing their module after the first year, because they find themselves they don't feel interested in what they learn, and they think they are better to do media rather than accounting and finance. So I say, well, if you really don't want to do it anymore, then if I ask you to continue, it will give you much more difficulty in this. And you may not even achieve a good grade. And if you don't achieve a good grade, even the job is easy in the industry to get, but your performance is not in the level that you can compete with others. So at the end of the day, I still really recommend that you choose something at least matching your interest. Do not do something that you absolutely have no idea what it's about. For example, a lot of you would love art, and you have a lot of skill in drawing, you have really good artistic mind, and you hate numerical. I cannot ask you to do accounting and finance just because a lot of people choose it and a lot of job available, because you may not do well in it, and there's no point of getting something easy to get job, but you get a very low grade. So trying to find something that can at least mix match between these 2 purposes up to a certain extent, maybe 50-50, not 0 and 100.
Yeah, that's great. So
Yes,
this
so important.
yes, Zina, can I ask?
Yes, this is so important for students to do something that they love and they want to do.
So the message
Yeah.
is provided by Rosie to the students that to follow their interest, not something that everyone take a course and I have to take that to get a job. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
like
but
that.
also you don't want to go so much with your interest and absolutely ignore the realistic,
Okay.
the
So
reality. You
yeah,
can
okay.
do something that you may like it so much, but then you absolutely forget about the fact what is going on in the market. Then that will give you a lot of trouble in the future. So somehow I still say a balance is good.
Okay. So what would you recommend to the students who are taking MBA from India? A lot of students are coming and taking MBA, a lot of them just after degree. So they might have different interest in different fields, but they're just like going with MBA with the placement option. So what do you recommend to them? Like after the degree, after the UG course, they're all taking the graduate MBA. So do you have any advice for them as
Oh,
well?
yes, definitely. Actually, I'm not trying to pursue my finance and accounting background as at all. What I'm trying to say is business administration or master MBA is master in business administration is quite a general course. It's cover a lot of management aspect of business. Sometimes too general may give you a bit of difficulty in finding job in the future. However, the reason when a lot of students come to me and when they're asking why a lot of students choosing finance and accounting, I said the reason people choosing that, and a lot of them have no idea what they want to do in the future, but they choose accounting and finance because it's cover the aspect of management as well. And for some reason, people who graduate in master finance and accounting can get a job easily in the equal probability with people who doing business administration. That's what I have been viewed, and I have talked to a lot of human resources in big companies, and that's what they told us. However, students who graduate in MBA, Master Business Administration, because it's too general, so you are kind of lacking of some specific knowledge that you have to study to know. For example, accounting. There is no finance people can know about accounting aspects if they don't learn about accounting, because it's a very technical and specific course. And the same for accounting to study finance. But for management course, it's hard. It's not easy. That's what I'm saying. It's really hard course to learn. A lot of writing. You have a very good skill, personal skill, interpersonal skill when you're doing MBA, because you need to have a good management. But the only issue is that it's too narrow in the way of career search.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit of extending in different fields. So for example, my sister already get an ACCA, which is like a very professional chartered accountant. So there's nothing else you can learn in accounting. She's a chartered accountant being accepted by everywhere around the world. So now if she wants to study master, then I would ask her to do something like MBA.
Okay.
Or finance.
Yeah, thank you. That was really good piece of information for a lot of international students. So let's move on to the next question. It's from Panpad. What are the challenges you face when you first come, and how do you come across those challenges?
So again, this is quite a broad question to ask, because when I first come, so at such a young age, so as I said earlier, there are two main challenges. The first one is the culture shock. The second is the language shock. So culture, because there's a lot of things changing, and it's when I'm young like that, when I come, there's a lot of panic and stress. And I have no one to rely on at that time. But for myself, I would say I'm very lucky to actually living with my host family. So my host family, my host lady is Chinese, and my host gentleman is British. And at that time, they have not had any kids. So basically, all their focus is on me. And they make, Chinese food someday, English food someday, and they just like a family for me. And until now, I still keep in touch with them. So with that small and new family, making me slowly come across the challenge of culture shock. I get to know more about what British people do, what they normally talk about this, what do they mean, And especially for language, I think because I talk a lot in English, most of the time I speak in English with my host family, and my English just improved dramatically after 6 months without myself noticing. So I think as long as any student coming here and they can adapt to the life here, then they can adapt to the study. Life first and then study. You cannot settle with your study when you still struggle in how to live.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
that
so
same thing happened with me as well, and lot of a lot of students. Like when I first came, my English was not so good. So without me noticing it, now I can speak a little bit with confidence. And earlier find it a little bit struggle in doing with the things, but now I'm a bit more confident. So that's my message for the international students, especially from India. If you are not good at English, because you are not used to it, but if we come here, like if we mingle with a lot of people like English persons, here we speak English only. So it's a kind of way, it's a way of improving our language. So you, as Dr. Rossi said, without we noticing it, our language will be improved. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But you cannot
So
just stick with your community and speaking your home language. Then
yeah,
you end up don't know
yeah,
anything about English either. So
yeah.
open yourself up a bit.
You can't just stick up with the community all the time, but you can, you know, you have the time to enjoy with them, but to understand all this, you have to explore the things in UK. As we know, UK is a very good country to have. And so let's move to the next question. So this is one interesting question from Hio Ho. Hello, why did you choose to come in such a young age? Is it too early to leave family?
Yes, actually, I cannot remember too much about the reason I come in here, to be honest. But I just remember at that time I start seeing my friend from around me start going to study. I have a very good friend, so he come to study English course in the UK. And then when I hear about his life here, and I actually get curious, and I'm interested in seeing how the life there. So when you are young, you have a lot of expectation and a lot of curiosity, and then I just follow him. And then I come to the same city with my friend. So I have someone there at least who from my countries. And probably this quite a shy and embarrassed reason to say that I'm kind of tired with the study in Vietnam because it's too hard. Okay. So it can be like a part of running away from very heavy load of study at that time, because I was like in grade 7, I still in grade 10. It was like so heavy, and I heard my friend said it's not much to study in the UK. Well, I don't know if it's true or not. It's not really that true, but partially the reason is because of that.
Okay.
But I think I make a good choice.
Yeah, you have really made a good choice. That's why you are the lecturer in University of Bath. Saying more about Bath, it is just on the 2020 rankings of Guardian list. I think it's placed 6 in the top universities in the UK, right?
Yeah. So in general, Bath is always in top 10 in the UK. However, the reason that is not appear in the top of the world ranking in the top 100, I think mainly because we do not have medical degree.
Okay, so don't have medical degree, but still on the top 10 list in the UK all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So we can move on to the next question from Farhan VK. So you are a lecturer at University of Bath. How does Bath Uni or other UK universities dealing with teaching during the COVID-19? What are the changes and difficulties that students will face?
All right. So you are talking about COVID. So what I actually dealing with my teaching now is most of the thing are online. So each student, we have the rules. And so now I'm just talking on behalf of Bath. So how we're dealing with COVID at the moment is, if for accounting and finance, we're giving students 4 interactive hours in person per week. So what does that mean is I will have to give my students an interactive, maybe through Zoom or Teams, and recording is not counting. So I do my pre-recording before my lecture, and I upload my video recording online. That does not count as interactive. but it's counted as teaching material. So my students can have a look at my video first, my lecture first, and then after that, I can make an appointment with them. Well, it's already scheduled for every week, a Zoom meeting, a Zoom teaching. So a lot of interaction going there. Student can clarify their work. Seminar is still there. You know, in UK, we have seminar in small group of the lecture. It's still there as well. But in this year it's online. So probably you want to like the idea that everything is online and you travel all the way here just to stay home and study.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get back to normal. And
yes,
yeah.
I really expect that. It's not just for yourself. To be honest, as online, and I don't like to do the pre-recording. I prefer to get in class and then start talking to my student, joking with them, or face to face with them. That make me feel more comfortable when I teach. And then a lot of things can come and I can discuss with them, not just like talking to my microphone or in front of the camera. So as much as yourself, I really hope to come back to the normal teaching.
Okay, so for the September intake, I think the universities have just opened up for the September intake, right? The classes have restarted for the September intake. For the previous students, they're still doing online.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So let's move on to the next question from Christopher Ho. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much would you recommend the UK as a study abroad destination for foreigners?
This is quite subjective, right? I studied my whole life in the UK since I'm in high school, so I think this is a very good place to study. I got my first sister study in Australia. My second older sister studied in New Zealand, and myself and my brother is in the UK. And my first sister also doing her master in America. So basically my family already experienced different system across the world. And I think I have no complaint on what on the education of the UK. It's a very standard educational system. It's not too heavy loaded, but it's not too easy that you can overlook on what you're learning. And the main thing is what I actually learned from study in the UK is what we call the critical thinking. In Vietnam, I told you earlier, the reason I kind of run away from it because it's kind of pushing me too much with 13 subjects and have to learn by heart so many things. And I'm not the person who can remember stuff. I can understand stuff, but I cannot remember stuff. And I think because of my characteristic like this and the way I learn, I'm much more suitable to the UK educational system.
Okay, that's good. So moving on to the next question. As a lecturer yourself, can you explain the marking or grading process in universities? So this is very interesting question. Most of the international students will not be familiar with the marking or grading procedure in UK. It will be entirely different from those happening in their home countries. So yeah.
Yes. So it's quite a standard marking process in the university. So for any assessment, so we have in-class tests, we can have exam, we can have coursework, we can have a presentation. So the process will start actually from the day that we set the exam question. So for the process of setting exam question, I'm the lecturer, I'm the module leader. I will be the one who set out the question and the answer to the exam question, and then I will have to move it to my colleagues who in Bath, and this called internal moderation. Then the internal moderator will have a look at my question and answer to see first whether the difficulty is fair or is okay. Is it fair? Is it too easy or is it too difficult? And the answer is it a correct question? When everything passed, then it will come to the time of exam. When students finish, as the module leader, of course, I'm the first marker. And again, we come back to the same internal moderator to do the second marking on the script that I already marked. When the moderator happy with it, signing a process, say, okay, everything is right according to the marking scheme and consistent across students, then the last step is, this is important, up to one point when all the exam, all the in-class tests, which normally happen at the end of semester 1 and at the end of semester 2. Then there will be 1-2 days that the external exam board will come to the uni. They are external, professor and lecturer, so they will sit together and start going through what we have already marked to make sure that all their view is independent, because they are not from our university, they are external. So that's all these process is to make sure that students was provided with a fair mark.
Okay. Thank you, Rosie. That is very good piece of information for international students. And moving on to the next question. Could I ask, what are the courses that Bath University good at?
So for Bath, as we said, general, the overall ranking, Bath is always in the top 10 and can be in top 5 of the university in the UK. And the courses that I aware to be very strong, of course, management school is my school. Accounting and finance, if you have a look in the field ranking, it normally rank the first for the subject itself. And I do aware that management, like for example, and we have really strong MBA course. It is extremely strong, and I myself is not eligible to teach MBA students yet. And all the professor being collected, to be assigned to teach MBA students, a very special professor who has a really strong practical background as well as research background to teach them. And we also have a very good facility for MBA students. For example, we have like a 2 specific lecture just for MBA students, and we have the whole private canteen and restroom for MBA students. And of course, the requirement to get in is really high as well. So management and also like marketing, human resources, these marketing stream are actually also in top 5 of the UK too. Computer science is the field that my brother is studying right now for his master. I think it's in top 10 of the UK still for computer science. And we are also very strong in engineering and economic course. So these social science are quite a very strong department that I'm aware of.
So studying in such a good university as Bath will ensure student graduate job immediately after the graduation, right?
I already talked to the placement team, because I have a look at the statistic, because we do have like placement course for students. And they said that we have almost 100% of students getting a placement, because the school have really strong connection with employers in the UK, and they can actually arrange a lot of meeting. Last year, we have 2 track for management student in my course. So I'm in charge of dissertation student, which is research track. And I also help student in practical. We call that practice track. That student are actually working with Ernst & Young or other big company on their project. And they are working alongside with them, coming to their company and all this. This is just a normal master without any placement track yet. And also, if you have a look at the survey for Bath, we do have top 5 in the rate that student will get graduate job after finish their study.
Okay, so that 100% it's really very good and shows how good the university is. But a lot of universities in UK also support the students with the placement. And yeah, so
this is the main thing when Bath like select their student really carefully.
Okay.
In the first entrance. And they don't normally admit, because when I'm doing my meeting with the student, I think the application each year go up for master track, only go up to 8,000, but we only take like less than 100. So the competition in application is really high for Bath.
So it's really tough to get into University of Bath, but if a
Yes,
student
we
is
did
really
trying to ask them to reduce the requirement, but they say no. So not my voice.
okay, so that shows how powerful the uni is. So let's move on to the next question. Are there good medical universities to pursue post-graduation in UK after completing my UG from India? Asked by Ahmad Faris from India. So, medical course, he has finished his medical course from India, like it's 5 years. Then after that, he want to take post-graduation of them of his medical in
Uh,
UK.
Hi, I'm Ahmed. Actually, I want to give you a bit information about medical study in the UK. We do not have master in medical. Well, we do have master in medical science. We do have master in medicine studies, but they are not doctor. What should I say? It's not the actual medical degree that you will get out to be a doctor straight away. So in the UK, we have the medical university or medical degree we call MBBS, so MB. You know about MB. So as soon as if you finish that MB, you will get 100% chance to get a job here. 100%. The government, the university, the government will give you a job straight away the next day as soon as you finish. So we do not have master for that. We have 5 years of medical degree, 5 years of MB to become a practice doctor. So after 5 years, then you will be allocated straight away immediately to one center, NHS center in the UK to do like probably you can call that placement or probation, but you earn salaries and everything for that. And then after that, you can specialize on something. But again, yes, we do not have a master on a proper MB. There's only MB, which is the undergrad for 5 years. And in the UK, we have 33 university around that do MB course. And well, the good thing is most of them are top in the world. For example, Cambridge, King Imperial, King College. So is it King College? I cannot remember clear, but Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial, Queen Mary. So this university, Newcastle, Nottingham, Manchester, this university do have extremely prestigious MB course, and it is very, very challenging to get in. So if you want to finish, if you already finished your UG and you want to come here to do master, and if you're looking for master for 1 year, as I said, it can be like MSc in medical science, MSc in medicine, MSc in pharmacy, but it's not the actual one that can guarantee you 100% job in the UK. That's what I know.
Okay, so it's really challenging, but those universities you name, like University of Oxford and Cambridge, Imperial College, those universities just not top in the UK. Those are the
top in the world,
top in the world.
especially
Yeah,
for medical. They're in top 10 in the world.
yeah. So UK universities are really prestigious and
Yeah,
top
and
10.
not just that, it's not like you have to be super smart to get in. You have to be super rich as well if you're an international student. Because for Cambridge, I think it's £50,000 per year.
Okay. So is there any test, like I heard, like UCAT test for getting admissions, like the entrance exam, right?
Yes, it's not, it's the entrance. It's more like a screening test. So students, some university would require a UCAT test, some would require BMAT. For example, Queen Mary, I think they're asking for UCAT, and you will have to take that exam. And normally that exam only, they have a deadline for that exam. And for this year, it's the 1st of October. So if you're actually looking for to get in an MB for next September 2021, you've got to finish your UCAT by next week or this week, the 1st of October. If you don't have the UCAT test result or your result is not good, then you have to wait until September 2022. And every year you only have one chance to do the test.
Okay. So for the medical students, you said that the expense is really high, but is there any chance they can get the scholarship based on their marks?
Trust me, everyone who apply is the top student already. They do not need to give you scholarship for you to study. That's the main thing. And a lot of people in the UK, for us, it's a challenge, but you have to think that a lot of British student, home student, they only pay 9,000, just like any other course. And they are very good students as well. So with the competition, what we worried about is admission, not scholarship anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I know the condition is really high and the number of students really high.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question from Panpat. I think that the parents really worry before sending their children to study in a new country and even before the COVID-19. What can you say about that?
So you're talking about the, of course, like when there's such pandemic going on, every parent are worried. Just like my mom, she always panic and not allow myself and my brother to go anywhere, to be honest. But you know, like for us to actually postpone our dream and our life absolutely like that because of the pandemic, maybe a big cost to consider as well. It's 1 year of life, it's 1 year of youth. And is it worth to that extent? What is the risk that you may get the disease and everything, and you know, the death rate and all this? You should take into consideration of all this before you actually come and say, okay, should I actually postpone 1 year of my life just for this COVID? Of course, the panic is always there and the risk is inherent. I'm not saying we should overlook on this risk. And also when you get the disease, you don't know whether you will be in the mild condition or you will be in the severe condition. Well, again, it's the risk. And that's why the university is still not open yet. This action, all the government aware of the reduce in the student admission and application, but they still take it, is already trying to minimize the risk that the students encountered. So for this way, you can actually thinking of getting your student, your kid an admission, let them start their study, maybe at home, that's fine. But I would honestly suggest do not postpone their life just on this event, because to be honest, we never know how long this will take. You may think, let's just postpone for half a year, postpone for 1 year, but God knows what will happen.
Yes, we
Yeah,
have to
okay.
look at it. It seems going to be.
Yeah. So it's mainly for the students like coming for undergraduate courses, like they have just finished the high school. They are still very young as compared to those of MBA students or postgraduate students. Like the parents would be worried about them as well. So yeah, that's very good information. And moving on to the next question from Farhan VK again. The education system in UK is different from that of many countries. Is it true that in masters and other courses there are only less or no exams and more kind of like assessments? Rosie?
I'm trying to understand the question.
Yeah, it's like you know, as compared to that of the Indian system, in here it's we said that we have already discussed that it's like more kind of assessment, no exams at all for certain courses. For example, for me in MBA, just I did only write only one exam, and the rest was just like all assessments, projects, research, everything. Nothing like written exams they do like in India, like actual marking system based on answering a question. But this is just about he's asking like it's like a research or
Right.
yeah.
To be honest, when you're doing MBA, you should aware that you will have a lot of coursework, but not exam. So depend on different module, depend on different courses, the assessment types is different. For example, in accounting and finance, everyone knows it's numerical, and numerical is hardly to put it as an assignment. So exam is more a better way of doing it. And in finance and accounting, we got a lot of exam, and we also have a lot of coursework for essay and all this writing coursework. But we do have a lot of exam. For example, this year I'm teaching 4 different modules, and all of them have final exam, and very heavy final exam, like 70 or at least 50 above for the course. And all these courses have in-class tests and also final exam, because I'm teaching accounting. Accounting is about numerical, and it will be hardly coursework. So it's really hard to say that they have less or no exam. It's just like which course you do. It will
Okay.
lead you to different assessment.
Okay, so sharing my experience myself as an MBA student, I had one exam for only one module that was like, as you said, it's in accounting. It was a session for 20-30 minutes, and we had to answer the question like within 1 minute for there was total of 20 questions. But yes, it was easy because I had already prepared the sample questions they'll already provide on the website of our university, so we can just have a look at it and study and prepare. So
Yes,
that's
one best way for a student to prepare well for their exam is to do the past exam paper. That's definitely the true story.
okay. So we can move on to the next question from Panpath again. I wonder which universities help students find internship and has more chances to find a job after graduation. So
Yes,
this is
normally most of university providing a lot of support for students to get an internship and placement. If you notice that now more and more students offering a placement course, because everyone noticed that whether or not you have a good degrees with a good grade, it still depends a lot on your experience, like your practical experience. Even if you get first class and on top of the course, but you do not have any practical experience, people still inclined to be other student who may have relatively lower results than yourself, but they have like much more practical experience. Then of course company will go to the one with experience, and a lot of jobs start asking for experience as the starting point of their essential requirement for the application. This gives all universities start stepping in the direction that start providing students with more practical courses and also placement year. And because they offer this placement year, student must have a placement to pass the course. Then this is the university responsibility to assist students to get a job for themselves. And of course, all of them trying their best. Almost all the university have a job center that they will help you. It's just a matter of to what extent can they help you.
okay. That was really good piece of information, and we have got some questions beforehand. We actually posted this on Facebook, and many students, a lot of students have doubts, and they started texting since then. So we actually prepare some of the questions to ask you. So this is one of the question. Some students think that they have done really well in exam, but are then surprised by a low grade. So, as a lecturer yourself, can you explain the marking or grading process in universities?
Yes, to be honest, I'm not an easy marker. I'm quite harsh in my marking, and I do apply a lot of things. During my study in the UK. Then what I find is the main mistake that international students have is they are too mechanical in the way they study. That's the best way I can put it. Mechanical here means, I can give you an example. When I do marking for an assignment or a coursework, I did give one student just a pass, which is 50% for master student. And this is quite a low mark because it's just reaching the pass rate. And my main comment there is, your work is mainly the collection of different sources and different books. Where is your word? So what you're doing is you just say, okay, as long as I'm doing citation, I will not commit to plagiarism. That's true. I never accuse you of, having a plagiarism. But the main thing is, I have no idea whether you understand what you're writing or not through your essay. Everything written so flowery, like the word, the writing is very academic. It sounds really nice. A lot of citation, a lot of academic resources. However, you overused it and you lack of critical thinking. The main mark I would give to my students is critical thinking, because only where you can show your critical thinking is where I can give you mark. For example, if you're writing a definition and you're citing someone, okay, you say, okay, liquidity is this from this person. Yes, you cite it, you say the definition, but you have to have another sentence explaining what is it. Maybe you give some example, or maybe you give some kind of practical example, statistic on that. Explain what you just said, where you cite from others. This is critical thinking, because you need to show me as a lecturer, do you understand what you write? So the main difference between students in the UK and international students is that the critical thinking learning, the critical learning process of us. That is one thing I actually lack when I first come here, and very lucky I come here in A level, so I literally have 2 years to practice that. And I can resit the exam again and again when I got to know them. So through writing and economics courses, I do know what is critical thinking, what they requires. So do not be so mechanical on the way you write. And another mistake is you trying to focus too much in the language and you forget about the content. So what I mean is, I give student 1,000 word essay, and I see 200 words is in introduction. Just saying around and around, very nicely speaking, but it's not come to the, you do not go straight to the point. You're going around on points that I'm not going to give you mark for. Yes, it sounds really nice, but it doesn't give you any mark. So there's no point of going around and around like that. There's assignment for 1,000 words, there's assignment for 3,000 words, there's assignment for 5,000 words. Different assignment, you have to have different focus. And when you get 3,000 or 1,000, you have to be concise, which means making the most out of your words. Don't speak around. Okay. That's another thing. And the third mistake, the third thing is that you forget that all the marking is done by human. We are human beings. We have subjective impression. So when I first looking at your introduction, or when I first looking at the way you present your study or your essay, you may think that, okay, there are no mark in presentation, the work, or there are no mark in writing as academic writing, as long as I don't make grammatical mistake. You're wrong, because we do have the impression. It's subjective impression. If I'm looking at your work and I see, oh, it looked like a very neat work, it looked like a very time-consuming work, very nice talking and a good understanding, at least in the beginning of your work, then this impression will adjust your mark a bit higher in overall, rather than you may write really nicely, you have really good knowledge, but somehow your work is lack of diagram, lack of academic writing, or the presentation is super ugly, like literally ugly. It's like single space, very tiny, not in the font we want. Everything look like a big chunk together. We don't like it. And that impression will somehow lower your mark a bit. We do not notice this, because it's subjective. So you cannot blame us. We do have the reason to give you low mark, but it's just about generous. So if you are on the line between 50 to 60, if we have a good impression, we will give you 59. But if you give us a low impression, we give you 51. It's still in the band of your quality. Can you see that? So a lot of things trying to improve, put a bit more time on that, and especially critical thinking is very important. Understand the point before you write it.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, Rosie. So how can students improve their grades? Is there a certain study plan they need to follow?
I will not give you any kind of specific plan, because different people have different way of studying and have different lifestyle. For myself, I will only share what I did during my study. So for my study, I do care about reading book, because the book literally explains things really well. And when I actually finding book, I go to the library, I figure out one book from my main textbook, I go to the library, and all the book around that book is in similar content. So I will pick a few books from different author, because some things this book had better explanation comparing to others book. So I just borrow all of them and then see if I can read. I'm not going to read all of them, but for different content, I will skim and see which one will give me the best understanding. And a good lifestyle is very important as well. So I'm quite an active student. I do go out quite a lot, going out with friends, eating out, okay, and all the student life, as you know, drinking, clubbing, everything, I do it. And I'm not going to restrain myself for studying at all. And I study quite relaxing in the beginning. I will catch up slowly. But for a lot of people, I think the difference between myself and friends is my friends see Christmas, 1 month Christmas break and 1 month Easter break as holiday. For myself, I see those 2 months as revision period. So that's the time that I will lock myself in and study. Other time I play and relaxingly study. But for that 2 months is strictly reading, preparing, and I plan well before the time I have exam for each module. Because I'm doing the finance and accounting, I have a lot of exam. It can up to 5 exam in 1 term. And of course, with coursework as well. So the time of preparing during those holidays is very important for me.
Okay, so you are suggesting that students should schedule their studies while coming to UK, not just explore the UK all the time. Just schedule the studies and go on and enjoy as well.
Well, everything balance is good. Like when you're starting with the study, just take it, relaxing a bit, but at the same time, live your life. As long as you know how to adjust it and, control it well for your exam. And of course, different people will have different way of study. So some student would actually take longer time to study, then they have to put higher effort to get the same grade as other student. So you have to base on your own capability in study as well.
Okay, that's great. So it's time to wind up. Before that, we have one last question from Ahmed Faris. How did students who completed high school in UK itself obtain admission into reputed colleges in UK? Is it similar to the selection test SAT like the one used in US? If so, how much chance would be there for foreign students to pursue admission in a top college in UK?
Okay, so many years I'm studying here, I would tell you probably this is not something that everyone would aware of. So coming to your first question, when I finish A-level, there is one specific process to applying for university, which called UCAS. So the deadline for UCAS is in October, mid-October of my second year of A-level. So the last year of high school. So in that admission, I have to have my personal statement. I have to have my IELTS ready. Even though I study college, but I still need an IELTS because I'm an international student. Then everything will go through that admission. And we all, at my time of study, there is a very strict selection of top university. And a lot of top university like LSE, Empirical, Cambridge, Oxford, Warwick, rarely they accept foundation course. For example, when at my age, when I come here is 15, 16, then you have 2 choices. Either you do 2 years A-level, 2 years high school, or 1 year foundation. If you thinking, less foundation, at least I can save 1 year. But yes, if you go to foundation, you will less likely to get into very top university. Very, very top uni. However, but you can still doing foundation if you just aim for like middle university. In UK, we have a funny classification like this. We have Oxbridge, which is Oxford and Cambridge. Then no one will talk about that. And we would have like top 5, for example, Warwick, LSE, Imperial, King's College, and these top 5. And then we have a group of university. Each city, except London, we have 2 uni. We have a good one and a relatively lower rank. in one city. For example, in Leeds we have Leeds Uni and we have Leeds Package. In Nottingham we have Nottingham and we have Nottingham Trent. In Bath we have Bath and Bath Spa. So we're having a group of high-ranking uni and another group of lower-ranking uni. So there are literally 4 groups. If you're from overseas and you're not doing foundation or you're not doing A level, somehow it's easier to get in a top university if you have a decent performance from your country's education system. For example, in Vietnam, if I want to study university here and I want to be in the very top uni like LSE, if I'm here doing A level and apply for LSE, it's very hard. It's still very hard. But if comes directly when I finish high school and I achieve very high score in Vietnam, which is like more than 8.0, 8.5, or even 9 points, and I have good IELTS, I will have much higher chance to go to LSE from my country. It's a bit weird, right? You would think that it would be easier for you to come here and apply for top uni. But according to many people I know, if you are coming from straight from your countries, but you have a very, very excellent mark, then it would be easier for you to go to a top university here, comparing to you come here and get a good mark to go to the top university. I hope I answered your question. But
Yeah.
the admission process is quite standard. We do not ask for tests, SAT, or anything. We just need what is your college or high school grade, and then what's your IELTS. So basically, just that.
Okay, so that's it. We can wind up the session now. So thank you so much, Dr. Rossi, for joining us. Thank you, audience, for watching the live stream. I hope this was helpful for you. If you still have questions about studying in the UK, inbox us. We'd be more than happy to guide you. Bye-bye. And before winding up, if you'd like to get a document stating all the tips in study and especially the mistakes students make in writing coursework from Dr. Rossi, please send us an email. We can send you the documents. So that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.
شكرا دكتور رازي لانضمامك لنا بهيدا اللايف ستريم. ان شاء الله نكون فدنا هيدا الجمهور والطلاب اللي كان حابب يسمعك. اذا عندكم بعض اسئله ما جاوبنا عليهم بليز تواصلوا معنا ونحن دغري رح رد عليكم. اذا حابين تعرفوا مستندات مخصصه للدراسه ببريطانيا ابعتوا لنا الايميل يلي لكم ونحن رح نبعثهم. شكرا. باي باي.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Rossi. Bye.
شكرا.